in the Lighthouse Diary Outdoors Edition. Once again, I'm gonna keep this, as you can probably tell, more on the short but sweet side. Yeah, so basically, yeah, should I like, I don't know. What's a good position right now? Yeah, so basically, my logic was okay because I reviewed some comics that I wasn't super fond of. I might as well just be, super forward with like other comics that I've read after. So I'm just gonna change position a little bit. It's okay if I go on my stomach. Okay. Okay, so I was probably look ridiculous. But anyway, honestly there wasn't much to say. I ended up liking two comic books after, the ones that I mentioned last time. But I don't want to talk about those today. I want to save them for later. But I do want to get brutally honest about four that I read after those ones that I liked, basically. So basically, you know what? Let me come back. Let me come back. So, isn't this so amazing? Yes. I haven't shot anything from on top of this hill, but yeah, we've been to this hill before. It's just like not at this very position. But anyway, so I read a trilogy, very brief. Um, I think it was very well paced, and there was also like, I guess you could consider it like a solo comic book. It's not really like a franchise or anything like that. It's kind of like a one-off kind of story. But yeah, I think the pacing for both of them was really cute. Felt like I was watching a movie. For both of them. So there's that. I think the art for both the trilogy and that one-off story was yeah, I would consider like attractive like in their own way. It's very obvious that like they were taking inspiration from stuff that came before. Um, and actually, the one-off one reminded me of the art style of one of the autobiographies, one of the comic autobiographies that I talked about last time. Um, which isn't a bad thing. I think it worked for the sake of that story too. Um, but yeah, for the trilogy, it's basically like an original superhero, but it's not like a super like well-known superhero. To be honest with you, I don't even want to recommend the titles for either of these because honestly, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I felt kind of either uncomfortable or I just felt kind of like let down in a way. So, yeah, I don't really recommend these personally, but anyways. So, yeah, the long and short of it of like why I'm not really a huge fan of uh, like these four like comic books I'm talking about, and I just don't want to put a bad um I just don't want to put anything bad on anybody's name, whoever like made the books and stuff like that. Um, basically, for the trilogy anyway, I'm trying to keep this PG, but I feel like they put emphasis on the plot, but I feel like they put even more emphasis on, uh, let's say, the conquests and the trysts of that superhero, like for that trilogy. So I was just like, it's kind of a turn off for me. It's just like I don't really care who he ends up with. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's where the trilogy kind of suffers is that, you know, I just got to know this superhero. I barely know this person. And you're already trying so hard to make me ship him with like somebody else. It's just like it's only three books. It's just like I don't feel invested in most of the characters to be honest with you. And and the thing with like the one-off story, it was actually yeah, just like a tangent. It was actually translated into English from Canadian French, I think it was. And that wasn't the only reason that it hit close to home. It actually hit close to home in a really uncomfortable way. I felt really bad for the protagonist, and I just don't want to make you feel bad by recommending that book. So I don't know, maybe down the line, when I'm in like a better place mentally and emotionally, I'll like reveal which ones these are, the titles of these books. I mean, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I like. It's funny though because it's a super short one, and yet I feel so invested in rooting him with basically his interest. Unfortunately, the interest doesn't choose him because basically that love interest, she's kind of, yeah, I hate to spoil things, but she's kind of guided by her hormones. Let's just put it that way. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I think that was, child, that was definitely a very similar theme. If I'm being completely vulnerable with you, you know, in my youth, and it's just, yeah, I felt bad for him, but the epilogue was, you know, quite refreshing. You know, they give you like a little bit of hope for the guy. Um, so there's that. And like the other thing as well, like part of why I don't recommend that one off story is that, you know, it's not safe for workplace. I'm not saying that's like inherently bad, but I just definitely wouldn't recommend it for reading it in public because I mean it's not super explicit, but I think you'll know what I mean by that. So yeah. Yeah, and I guess like similarly the trilogy, it is very like libido driven, which again like isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's tons of stuff out there that's like, you know, the huge focus on the story is like somebody's like libido and all that stuff and their endeavors. But yeah, yeah, no, I would consider these like reads like okay reads like overall, but definitely not. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely for people with like a particular um unsatiated taste, if you know what I'm talking about. So there's that. Um, but yeah, I've actually got my appetite back, so I'm gonna start heading to the house for some dins, and I'll see you in the next Lighthouse Diary entry. Mwah. See you later, alligator.